Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid. It's a rumor that can make Liverpool fans spit out their tea and exclaim, "Now you're just messing with me." Yet, here we stand, with the football world buzzing about a potential free transfer to the Santiago Bernabéu. On one hand, we have Liverpool's star right back, revered for his pinpoint crossing, wizard-like set pieces, and a habit of tallying assists at a rate that would make many midfielders blush. On the other hand, there's Real Madrid, arguably the biggest club in history, itching to shore up their right flank. The comedic twist lies in picturing a lifelong Red strolling around in Madrid's iconic all-white kit, answering to the famously demanding Bernabéu faithful. Could the local Scouser truly carve a successful path in the Spanish capital, or would the whistling from Los Blancos' fans rattle him more than the next Merseyside derby? Alexander-Arnold's fame skyrocketed during Liverpool's 2019-20 campaign, when he helped end the club's 30-year Premier League title drought. His crosses, assists, and near magical understanding with the front line propelled the Reds to success, rendering the team nearly unstoppable. Fans joked that if he kept racking up double-digit assists, he might be forced to play in midfield just to stop overshadowing wingers. Adding comedic flair, he was the first defender to achieve double-digit assists in multiple Premier League seasons, a statistic that left rival managers attempting to jam their flanks with extra defenders. Fresh off that triumph, 2021-22 saw him sign a new contract with Liverpool, after which he promptly became the youngest English player to clinch 6 major trophies, including the UEFA Champions League and FA Cup. Picture other fullbacks toiling for years in search of a single medal, while Trent casually accumulates them as if collecting limited edition stamps. Then came 2022-23, where he embraced an inverted fullback role under Jurgen Klopp, an adjustment many defenders would find disorienting. Instead, Trent thrived, culminating in his 50th Premier League assist. Amid all the comedic banter of "he's basically a midfielder," he reminded critics that his skill set transcends any conventional right-back mold. He defends, sometimes. He provides unstoppable passes, and he orchestrates a chunk of Liverpool's attacking impetus from a position historically known for tackling more than assisting. With every passing season, the comedic wonder only grew. A player labeled as a defender was overshadowing creative midfielders in the chance creation department. While some of his highlight reels included whipped corners that left jaws on the floor, others teased him for the occasional defensive slip, a near inevitable byproduct of pushing so far forward. Trent's rise to prominence is anchored in 2 major strengths. First, his creative vision stands out. The man can deliver a cross from the halfway line onto a striker's forehead with the precision of a NASA-engineered laser. He's not a wide player who merely whips blind balls into the box. He picks spots with near-surgeon accuracy. Second, his versatility has turned him into a tactician's dream. Need a quasi-midfielder who can orchestrate from deep? Stick Trent in an inverted role. Prefer an old-school wide overlap? Deploy him as a traditional right-back and watch those lethal crosses rain in. Still, comedic disclaimers persist. His defensive vulnerabilities can be glaring, particularly against pacey wingers who love to exploit the space he vacates. Fans often witness comedic moments of center backs flailing their arms as they scramble to cover the gap that Trent leaves when he darts upfield. Another issue is positioning. The frequent infield ventures demand near-perfect synergy with teammates to backfill the gap behind him. Without that, opponents find comedic joy in sprinting down his flank for fast break opportunities. So while he can orchestrate a match's offensive shape, it's also fair to say he sometimes inadvertently orchestrates comedic panic for Liverpool's defense. Now enters Real Madrid, a club so historically grand that comedic Galacticos references barely do it justice. Recent rumors paint a picture of Los Blancos being very optimistic about capturing Trent on a free transfer this summer, capitalizing on his contract's approaching expiry. For comedic effect, you might imagine Madrid's board exchanging winks over tapas, convinced they'll pull off another sensational free signing. Meanwhile, Liverpool supporters might be raising eyebrows, muttering, "He's our local lad, how can this be real?" According to reports, discussions between the two parties have been ongoing since January, with Madrid eager to address their long-term right-back needs. Factor in Dani Carvajal's injury woes, and it's a comedic perfect storm. The Spanish superclub sees TAA as a near-perfect solution, while Anfield watchers fear losing a homegrown hero and an engine of their system. The comedic meltdown in the event of a mid-season or last-minute window scenario looms large, and for Trent, if he truly desires a new challenge, the Bernabéu stage might be both irresistible and terrifying. Imagine going from a raucous, adoring cop to a fierce crowd that's been known to boo legends after a single off night. Should Alexander-Arnold walk onto the Santiago Bernabéu turf, what happens next? First off, comedic but real. Real Madrid loves star power, and TAA's highlight reels fit snugly alongside their brand. The fans might get a show akin to a Hollywood blockbuster. Unstoppable crosses to a lethal forward line, playful 1-2s with midfield wizards, and a surge of comedic panic for opponents who fear conceding free kicks within 35 yards. His proven leadership at Liverpool, evidenced by multiple trophies, would also add intangible benefits to a dressing room in perpetual pursuit of more silverware. Tactically, Carlo Ancelotti could opt to replicate the idea of an inverted fullback, letting TAA roam inside, or simply stick him to the flank as a crossing machine. The comedic scenario arises if Real's defenders find themselves repeatedly covering the corridor behind Trent whenever he bombs forward. La Liga's style might also demand that he refine his approach, given it can revolve around slower build-ups, cunning counterattacks, and more nuanced pressing strategies. If he struggles to adjust to this new ecosystem, or gets singled out for comedic defensive lapses, the Bernabéu faithful might well turn restless. They're not known for infinite patience, even for big names. Nonetheless, if everything clicks, we could see comedic wonders. Those iconic aerial deliveries landing precisely on a forward's left pinky toe, or TAA assisting from so deep that Spanish commentators run out of superlatives.
Magnificent goal from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold, 2-0!
He could become a generational presence in La Liga, rewriting the narrative around how a so-called attacking fullback can excel in a league that prizes tactical discipline. Trent's Liverpool contract expires on June 30th, 2025. Despite reported attempts by the club to secure his future with improved terms, he has seemingly turned them down, fueling speculation that he's open to life beyond Anfield. Real Madrid's rumored plan is to finalize an agreement on a free transfer, albeit with comedic nuances like the possibility of him joining earlier if a short transfer window before the 2025 Club World Cup opens up. For comedic effect, imagine a chaotic last-second scramble, with paparazzi stalking Liverpool's training ground for glimpses of TAA's facial expressions or next haircut. The comedic heartbreak for Reds supporters would be seeing their local star slip away for no transfer fee, while the comedic glee in Madrid would be reminiscent of some heist film's final scene. Big smiles, high fives, and a brand new Galactico. The comedic meltdown at Liverpool in the event of losing Alexander-Arnold can't be overstated. This is the lad who joined the club at 6, soared through the ranks, and literally contributed to so many of their modern triumphs. He's a critical piece of Jurgen Klopp's well-oiled system, providing the creative impetus from wide areas that typical midfielders might envy. If he departs, the Reds face a comedic identity crisis. Do they shift to a more traditional defensive-minded right-back approach, or scramble to unearth a TAA 2.0 from the academy? The comedic challenge is that players like him don't grow on trees. Replacing that consistent high-level crossing threat and those set pieces that are borderline supernatural would require a thorough rethinking of how Liverpool orchestrate their forward thrust. Fans would also have to wrestle with the comedic irony that after building a near-dynastic side around local talents, they'd be forced to watch one of their own jewels stroll off to Madrid on a free. Typically, Liverpool invests heavily in continuity. Losing TAA would be an anvil dropped into the pond, sending comedic ripples across the entire squad. That said, no club is bigger than a single player, but losing a local star who served as both comedic relief in the locker room and an unstoppable crossing machine on the pitch feels like a double gut punch. From Madrid's perspective, the comedic dream scenario is to replicate their recent free transfer successes, hooking up big fish without draining the bank account. TAA would solve their right-back dilemma in style. With Carvajal aging and frequently injured, they'd gain a younger, more attack-minded replacement who could seamlessly slot into a star-studded lineup. The comedic potential, though, is if TAA's defensive lapses show up in a few big La Liga matches, or a Champions League night, prompting the famously fickle Bernabéu to shower him with whistles. Then again, if he breaks the record for right-back assists in Spain, he'd be hailed as a visionary, and comedic references to the new Roberto Carlos, except English and with better crosses, might start popping up. Additionally, TAA's proven leadership and multi-trophy background mean he'd bring intangible experience to a squad always hungry for fresh impetus. The comedic question remains: can Real Madrid's system and culture fit TAA's style as fluidly as Liverpool's did? If so, we could witness an unstoppable force forging new synergy with Madrid's next wave of Galacticos. If not, comedic tabloids might have a field day analyzing every misplaced pass or half-hearted recovery run. So will Trent Alexander-Arnold succeed at Real Madrid if he makes the switch? On one hand, he has the trophies, skill set, and comedic swagger to thrive under the Bernabéu's intense glare. His crossing alone could become the talk of La Liga, and his proven record of stepping up in big matches suggests the fearsome crowd wouldn't faze him, provided he tightens up defensively. On the other hand, comedic disclaimers remain. Real's fans can be ruthless if a star fails to deliver, and TAA's occasional defensive lapses might get mercilessly amplified. Still, for a player who transformed Liverpool's right flank into a highlight reel, discounting him would be a mistake. Whether you're a Liverpool fan dreading the comedic meltdown of losing a local hero, or a Madrid supporter hoping to see unstoppable crosses at the Bernabéu, the next chapter in Trent Alexander-Arnold's journey promises drama, flair, and more comedic twists than a Netflix special. If that rumored free transfer does go through, brace yourself. Football might never look quite the same again.